Manchester United all but out of the Champions League tonight, leading 2-0. Arguably the best performance of the season, not just in the Champions League, but in all competitions for the Red Devils, moving the ball, passing well, creative. Rasmus Højlund, top goal scorer in the Champions League, proving that if you feed him, he scores. And then robbery struck. And we actually spoke about this on the terrace today, and people were saying that you don't get any of this in the Champions League. And it was a disastrous night. We're going to go into that in more detail. Of course, we're talking Arsenal as well, that were on fire again tonight. I can't believe they only scored 2 goals. Saka killing it in the Champions League once again. Trossard with the opening goal. They're pretty much through now, sitting on 9 points. They can take it easy somewhat in the last couple of games. They're 2 most difficult out the way. Arsenal Football Club on fire and demonstrating exactly who they are. It's a very different story, though, for Man United, but stay with us. We're covering both teams tonight, and there's a lot to go into. And I want to start off by saying this, that I am talking refereeing decisions, but I am also going to talk about my problem with Man United tonight, my disappointment in how we performed, and how a lot of this falls upon the manager himself. Now, like I've said before, win, lose, or draw, performance good, performance bad, bad refereeing decisions must be called out. Suddenly, I get the feeling a lot of rivals will not apply that same logic to Manchester United. I'm sure they won't. But United were very good tonight, up until the Rashford red card, as you can see here. Treads on the player's ankle. There's no doubt he does tread on his ankle. You can't deny that as an example. But under the letters of the law, this is not a red card. He doesn't lunge in. He isn't challenging for the ball, i.e. the opponent has possession. Doesn't go over the ball. Isn't even looking at the player. It is classified by UEFA and FA rules as an accident. It was an accidental situation. Not a player challenging for the ball and accidentally missing it and catching the player. He was shielding the ball. He wasn't looking, and he stood on the player's ankle. I've seen a lot of people try and compare it to Romero's or Curtis Jones. Not the same at all. He wasn't challenging for the ball. He was in possession, and he's turning his back. Very, very unfortunate there for Manchester United, and a decision which I know that every other rival watching would be horrified against. And most people online agreed, not a red card in a million years. United didn't lose their heads from this point, and that's the element that I'm not happy with. Headless chickens, panicking, running around, disastrous. They get a goal back. We're 2-0 up, by the way. Rasmus Højlund been on fire. And then they score this goal. And I don't expect and don't want any sympathy from rival fans here, but we should be calling this out. The FA and UEFA have exactly the same rules upon a player standing in a offside position for a goal that obscures the goalkeeper's view. On Monday night, we saw this given as offside because it was obscuring the goalkeeper's view. But tonight, for Manchester United, this was not considered to be offside, although Onana cannot see what's going on because a player in an offside position is striking the ball. This will not be discussed on TalkSport. This will not be discussed on TNT. This will not be discussed amongst rival fans, but it must be because it is an absolute, clear offside goal. As clear as day, as sure as eggs are eggs. It's offside. And you can laugh and you can cry and you can say no way, but if Jackson is offside here, then Copenhagen are offside here. But we've seen already this season, Man United do not get these offside decisions. So they get the goal back and then more panic continues. And then Manchester United concede one of the worst handballs I've ever seen in my life. Maguire, who had his arm out already, the player turns, is in very close proximity, Very, very close proximity indeed. He doesn't move his arm to the ball. He doesn't put his arm up as the ball's about to go past him. It was already there. It's an accident. Given us handball, it brings the game back to 2-2. The only thing I would say about this handball is that Man United get one in the second half. By the way, it took a long time for them to give that. You could tell they didn't want to do it. So you could argue that equals it out. But that wasn't a penalty either. And I'm calling out these decisions. That was a penalty, nor was this. But an offside goal and a penalty that shouldn't be, and a very controversial red card got Copenhagen back in the team. That's the robbery. But when it comes to Manchester United, they still need to be better. Manchester United still need to perform. Headless chickens, a lack of concentration in that 15 to 20 minutes after the red card and after the first goal was conceded. Far too offensive. Didn't keep in our shape. There is no structure. There is no confidence. And look, we have good moments. And I was very proud of the first 20, 35 minutes. I was like, okay, moving the ball, good movement, great shape. And then it fell apart. For large parts of the second half, Man United were better. Kept a great shape. We didn't concede chances. We were dominating the game, although we only had 10 men. And then, look, it wasn't a penalty for me, but we get the penalty and we score and we're 3-2 up. And then what do Manchester United do again? What do Manchester United do again? We lose our heads. Dalot, that is a couple of games running now, where last week against Newcastle and tonight, sleeping, not knowing where the wide player is, concedes that goal, makes it 3-3, and then we're gone. Their heads go just like at the end of the first half. This team has no bottle. This team has no character. This team has no personality. And I've been calling this out for years about my football club. People say it's tactics and it's training and it's quality of player. And I agree that plays a part. But when we're in the ascendancy, when we're holding on to the ball, when we're looking for the goal, both when the game began and in the second half, we can do it. We can keep our shape. We don't switch off. But as soon as we become complacent or we face adversity, whenever there is a change in the mood, a change in the mental dynamic of the game, this Manchester United team falls apart and collapses. And that is on the players. That is on the way we run as a football club. And it is on Ten Hag. The fact that when we went 3-3, he then takes off Rasmus Højlund I can kind of get bringing Mount on if we're 3-2 up. But we now are going to need another goal. We had to win tonight. A draw was no good. That change gave them the impetus. And then look, he's been good in recent weeks, but Maguire and Varane between them, playing out from the back, absolute ridiculousness. Ridiculousness from the two of them. Absolutely crazy. Led to that fourth goal. And although mathematically we're not out, we could win our remaining two games and get onto 9 points and qualify. We had a touch tonight with Bayern Munich beating Galatasaray. However, look, we haven't beaten Galatasaray away from home ever in our history. And Bayern Munich, even though they may rotate, even though they may rest for that final game, it's going to be hard push to beat them with the way we're playing and the way we're performing. And yes, the referee made bad decisions tonight. Yes, we got robbed in areas tonight. There's no doubt about it. And whether we bottled it, whether we were poor, is irrelevant to the bad decisions. We have to still call them out. That is what Arsenal fans said on Saturday. It's what Liverpool fans said 3 weeks ago. I've kept the same energy. So I'm going to speak very candidly here to my audience and to the football terrace. Keep the same damn energy for my football club. Whether we were good enough to win or not tonight, whether we bottled it or not, is irrelevant from the bad decisions that were made in the game by the referee. You cannot go, it's fine they were terrible, the refs tonight, because I don't like Man United. That's why football is eroding. However, we did collapse tonight. We need to be ridiculed on that. And I said the same thing to Gooners on Saturday. You can criticize the goal that shouldn't have stood, but you have to look at your own performance too. And this team has no bottle. And the part of me that really likes Ten Hag, but as I said 3 weeks ago now, for one reason or another, this team isn't gelling. For one reason or another, this team isn't working. For one reason or another, this isn't happening. Keeping him now pretty much means we're out of the Champions League. And we've seen, by the way, what this group of players can do when they've got a little bit of confidence in them. They can pass the ball. They've got good movement. As soon as that pressure's on, they're a deer in headlights. And that comes from management. That comes from how confident he has made them feel. That comes from how we operate in training each and every single day. And Manchester United, should not have kept him this long. It's another defeat, 3 in the Champions League. Yes, we've got Luton at the weekend that you would expect us to beat, but the international break is coming up. I think Manchester United should act now, especially if the new incoming part owners have an idea of a new manager that they want. They've got to get, if they're really thinking of that, get it done now. There's still an element of this season that can be saved. But for me, I'm very, very disappointed indeed. Some super chats here. Then we're chatting Arsenal. It says, how is that stamp different from Romero? Well, Romero's wasn't a stamp. It was a lunging tackle where he follows through and hits the guy's shin. Rashford was not a stamp. He didn't stamp on the player. If you actually watch it in real time and slow motion, a stamp would indicate an acceleration of force to hurt somebody. He just put his foot down and stood on the guy's ankle. So not a stamp in any way, shape, or form. The Glazers are too cheap to pay the refs. Rigged. Terry, did United bottle it? Yeah, I think we did. Although those refereeing decisions went against us, I still felt that if Dalot stays awake, if we maintain concentration, if we maintain our shape and composure, we win. And we didn't. That is on us. That part is on us tonight. We're robbed, and I think we're out now as well. Garnacho shushing the crowd without a W, jinxed it. Yeah, I didn't like those celebrations. I'm not someone that likes the arrogant celebrations. I know we went 3-2 up, but we're down to 10 men. If we'd have gone 4-2 up then or 5-2 up, then do it. But again, football gods. I'm telling you now, the shushing of the crowd and the arrogance towards the Copenhagen fans, the football gods go, no, it's about tempting fate. We do it all the time. Honestly, arrogant people, it's ridiculous. Was never a red card, but still, even with 10 men, you shouldn't have squandered a 2-0 lead. If that was City, they would have probably still won 5-0. Now, I agree. You've got to remember the first goal they scored was an offside goal and it wasn't checked by VAR. So there's elements of that there, I understand. And I think that's what was going through the player's head. They conceded an offside goal straight away after the red card. Then they conceded a penalty that never was, and they let their heads go. And that's the problem. So that element I agree with. There's no doubt about it. But that doesn't mean we shouldn't call out the poor refereeing. Højlund is waiting his time at United. Listen, he's waiting. I think you mean wasting. Look, Rasmus Højlund proved tonight why he's a top-class young striker. You create the chances, he'll score. That goal, his first goal tonight. I've been waiting for us all season to put a ball across the 6-yard box for him, and it was great. And if we do that 3 or 4 times a game, every match for Højlund, he'll be in all competitions, he'll score between 30 and 40 goals a season. He's that good. But we don't do it. Personally, I think if it's not a red, then Jones isn't. I'll be honest with you, Jones's and Rashford's are completely different. Rashford's was not a challenge for the ball. He was in possession, he tried to shield it. There are fundamental differences. There is no protocol, no law that states what Rashford did is a foul. It'll be a foul, but it's not serious foul play. There was no lunge. He was not out of control, and he wasn't challenging for the ball. So therefore, it cannot be serious foul play, and it can't be violent conduct. None of those 3 elements were in that tackle. No lunge, wasn't off the ground, was in control of the ball, and you could argue it endangers an opponent, but how much force was in there because he didn't lunge? So I don't think it ticks the boxes, personally. If, as a Liverpool fan, Man United got robbed, shambles refereeing, thank you for your honesty. Not a red, but conceding 4 goals is unforgivable. I agree with you on that. I've already said it, my friend. VAR made a bad decision, but this was a clear red card. If you believe that, then I'll respect your opinion, bro. Their player was offside, but still allowed the first goal. Yep, and no one's even talking about it. And Sky won't talk about it. By the way, if we won it with that goal, the world would be going into meltdown, my G. Even with 9 men, United has to beat them. Mate, Rooney scoring the winner as well. It made me feel a bit sick. We can't blame anyone but ourselves. The heads went over and our weak mentality showed the time and time again. I hear you, bro. I hear you. Rooney, big up Terry. Thanks, Skywalker. Copenhagenism FC. Yeah, I hear you, bro. Firstly, we're gone, but put the E next to our name. The way we capitulated at the end was a disgrace. Put the E in your name. I don't know what you mean. Dalot weak look at 3rd and 4th goal. Listen, we all know Dalot isn't a very good defender. People have defended him for years, but he really isn't that good. We're going to come back to more super chats later. Look, Arsenal tonight. I don't know what Arsenal fans are going to say. Maybe last time they played quite well Can't find my pen to write a note down, but I know they should have maybe scored more goals tonight, but I thought Arsenal looked scintillating. They really, and in the first 20, 30 minutes before I red card, I was watching both games going, bloody hell, Man United and Arsenal both playing well on the same night. Who'd have thought it? And I think Arsenal were maybe unlucky not to score a few more goals. Quite a lot of the cutbacks from Martinelli just didn't quite fall to people. They missed a number of chances, but I thought they were on fire tonight, Arsenal. I thought they moved the ball well. I thought they played well. I thought that Saka was on fire again, and it's not the knockout stages, and I know that counts for a lot more for people, but I think Saka's demonstrating that he is a Champions League player. He looked, and Martinelli looked more like last season tonight. Not too sure about the injuries. They didn't have the sound up too loud on the Arsenal game, but I thought they looked really good tonight. I think 2-0 flattered Sevilla. Now, I think your diehard Arsenal fan will look at the situation and say, but we weren't clinical enough, and the lack of clinical edge bothers me. I wanted to win 4 and 5-0. That worries me for future games. And I think that's a fair cop, a fair point, a fair sort of point of reference in the game for improvement. But if you look at the overall play, I thought Arsenal were pretty good. They didn't look as strong when they made their substitutions later on in the game, but I almost feel like they were then playing within themselves, almost reserving energy for the weekend's game against Burnley. But I'm not watching it with any nerves because I'm not an Arsenal fan, so I don't maybe look at it through the same lens as you all do. But Arsenal were very, very comfortable tonight. I thought I need to find this pen. It's annoying me. Where's it gone? Where's my pen at? I literally had a pen here and I dropped it. I like to hold a pen when I talk, and now I can't find it, and it's bothering me. It's throwing my psyche off. But yeah, look, as I say, Arsenal I thought were very, very good indeed tonight. We're going to get Brandon out very soon. I'm not sure if any other Gooners are on the show tonight, but Brandon's on his way out tonight to come and have his say. We might share the link a bit later for other people to come on and talk as well. But we've got KJ that's coming on. Sunshine and Brandon are here with us. We'll come back to your super chats very soon. Welcome back to the show, boys. A weird night for everybody. I don't know why I've got the wrong overlay up. I'll sort that out. But a weird night for Man United fans tonight, boys. Probably happy with elements of the game and the performance, but terrible refereeing. Another collapse. KJ, talk to me.
UEFA are a disgrace. They're a disgrace. Drogba said it best. It's a disgrace. It's a disgrace. That is not a red card. There's a yellow card. If you got a yellow card for that, fair enough. Minute accident. He's trying to shield the ball off from an opposition player. He can't predict that foot being there where he wants to plant his foot. Okay, cool. Yellow card. But he gets a red. Disgraceful. Both penalties were not penalties. Both penalties weren't pens. This handball rule that they have in Europe, in the UEFA competitions, is stupid. Both pens weren't pens. And if we're going to talk about flipping red cards, if you're going to give a red for Marcus Rashford, their centre-back deserved a red for elbowing Højlund in the face. But does that get checked? That don't get checked. The fact that there are players offside on their first goal doesn't get checked. So all these things are the reason why my main frustration is at UEFA's rulings and the ref. Man United, that's a different conversation. Man United were on course to have their best game all season. We controlled the game, scored 2 good goals. Everything was going fine. The frustration with Man United is that when things go against us, no matter what situation it is, we do not keep our heads up. We can't hold it down for like more than 10 minutes. It's frustrating. So those two things put together, my head is just hot. My head is just hot. Because if Copenhagen had a 2-0 lead and they got men sent off in the 40th minute, I guarantee they don't concede 4 goals. They don't concede 4 goals. I don't know what it is about these players, but they can't handle it. And I don't know why. They can't handle it. If I was thinking about this, Terry. If I had my way with Man United, Sir Jim comes in. I don't flipping care who cares or who comes in. I actually don't care. If these pagans are going to stay, here's what I want. Sell all of them. Sell all of these players. Bring a load of youth in and just become a team that develops youth and sells them on for good money and plays good football. Because what is the point? What is the point of being in the Champions League when we're not going to compete for it? What's the point of even challenging or trying to be in the Premier League to win it if you're not even going to properly try? If you're going to hire the wrong players, you're going to hire the wrong managers to win the league. What's the point? It's just, what's the point of trying to win trophies when these players can't handle pressure and the manager ends up brain farting after a season? So I don't care. I'm not annoyed that we're about to go out, because I said it earlier in a couple of shows ago. We need to be out of these competitions because we need to reevaluate what we want to be as a club. But right now, it doesn't matter what we do. When it rains, it pours. We could be good, the ref will screw us. We can be bad, and we're just bad. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't matter what we do in games. We can't even flip and draw. And I'm just tired, Terry. I'm just tired. I'm tired of what Man United are. So become something new. Become a team that I can enjoy, be excited about our players, and let them be sold on so they can flourish somewhere else, like an Ajax, like a Brighton, like Dortmund.
To be honest with you, I'm just happy that we didn't. I'm just happy we didn't throw young Kobe Mainoo into this team tonight, because you know what's really interesting when you watch Man United is you watch Rasmus Højlund. And although Monday Night Football was a disgrace, the way they ripped into him and tried to make it sound like he's the problem, he's still got 5 goals this season. He's the fastest Man United player in our club's history to get to 5 Champions League goals. The Champions League's a hard competition to play in as well. We just don't create for him, but his whole lot play, his general play is really good. But if he stays and we don't improve as a football club overall, he'll be burned out. I don't want young Kobe to play. 1, there's ridiculous amounts of pressure on him. And 2, the club will ruin him, even if he's great. Even if he starts off and on match week 1, he's better than Kante and KDB combined. That's sarcasm for rivals, by the way. In a year and a half's time, he'll look like Lee Cattermole, because we do that to every single player. It's just the way we are as a football club. And I kind of agree with you. I am angry at the decisions tonight, because I've got a genuine crusade this year against refereeing. I thought it was horrendous. But then on top of that, we didn't help ourselves. If we would have stuck in and been resolute, hard to break down, and drew 2-2, maybe just drew 3-3, then I'd have been more focused on them. But that collapse towards the end of both halves, that's a mentality issue. Because when we kept ourselves together, when we were compact, we were very difficult for them to break down and beat. And then, the brain fart from Dalot, that's 2 midweek games running. Maguire and Varane deciding to try and play out from the back when they didn't need to. There's even a moment after we went 3-2 up, and Bruno had the ball out wide on the right. Keep the ball. What does he do? Nearly comes off, but he hits the ball long, trying to put Garnacho in. Keep the ball for 5 minutes. Take the sting out of their towels. That's when they were going to come and attack. And it's so frustrating watching us make the same mistakes over and over and over again. However, what I'm not going to do is allow my anger towards Man United to let those referees off tonight. And the biggest one for me isn't even the red card, and it isn't even the handballs, which will be the 2 talking points. It's the goddamn offside goal. I know this is a different competition, but the laws are the same. I read them. Jackson was offside Monday night because this is considered impeding the goalkeeper's view. This is considered to not be impeding the goalkeeper's view. That is the biggest piece of corruption that I have seen tonight. And that wasn't even checked or assessed. Not anywhere. And those things need to be called out. And I know rivals won't want to do it this evening, because it's Manchester United and it's time for it to be fun. But this is why I told you the media won't talk about it either. Kardashian effect. Because when rivals saw all these decisions going on, they're going, yeah, it's happening to United. And that is why it's all happening in football. Because we enjoy this bullshit too much as a general rule. If we all push back against it and said it was a disgrace, it'd disappear in 2 months, because they know we're not entertained by it, but we are. We're going to come back to Man United in a minute. I want to ask Brandon, I looked at it as a very good game. I didn't even realize until I just looked at the stats while everyone was talking. Sevilla didn't even have their first shot on target until the 95th minute. I said in my monologue earlier that I felt that Saka and I thought Martinelli looked back to their brilliant best tonight, beating people, cutting in, being dangerous. It feels like they've been like that in a lot of the home, especially the home Champions League games this year. There seems to be more cutting edge. There seems to be more directness. I like the Trossard, Saka, Martinelli combination. I think that seems to work. Without Gabriel Jesus, seems to be the best mix, because they're all technically gifted. They can all dribble. They've all got a goal in them. They seem to get on quite well. I thought the only hindrance was still probably what's his name? Kai Havertz, I still think he kind of slows down the play and doesn't quite fit into what Arsenal are trying to sort of do. I thought overall tonight, especially after 2 defeats on the bounce, was a very good victory, but a marked improvement for Arsenal, performance-wise.
1,000,000% tell. Tonight was complete domination. The scoreline will probably not say that because we only won 2-0, but we could have had 4, 5 or 6. As you know, you just pointed out, Sevilla had their first shot on goal, their first shot on target in the 97th minute. We completely dominated them tonight in every aspect of the game. And this is why I say we can win this competition, Tel, because when you look at it in the Champions League, teams open up against us, and that's what we crave for. We crave for that space. Saka, Martinelli, Trossard, them type of players need space to operate in. We don't tend to get that very much in the Premier League so far this season, obviously because teams, throw 2 banks of 4 behind to try and stifle us. And it works when you're playing with a midfield 3 of Jorginho, Rice, Havertz. There's not much creativity in there. But when you're coming up against a team that is willing to open up, that's why I say we can win this competition, because they're going to be teams in this competition that are going to open up against us. And when they do that, that's when you see the best of Arsenal. Like you said earlier, Bukayo Saka, Gabriel Martinelli looked like the Gabriel Martinelli and Bukayo Saka of last season. They were excellent tonight, especially Martinelli in that first half. He was on absolute fire. That fullback, I don't even know the guy's name, but he couldn't get near him. And Trossard, who knew, Tel? We've been looking for a solution. We've been questioning why isn't it fluid in the midfield? Why isn't it fluid in attack? Why is it that our attacking players just cannot seem to get into games right now? And I think you got your answer tonight. Without Gabriel Jesus, the best player to play in that false 9 position is Trossard, purely and simply because of his technical ability, his ability to link up play, his ability to bring other players into the game and make them perform better. Eddie Nketiah just simply doesn't do that. And that's not, Eddie Nketiah, he scored his hat-trick against Sheffield United. He scored some big goals last season in moments when we needed him. But he's just not that type of striker. And unfortunately, in this Arteta system, you need somebody who can do that role and play that role to an absolute T that Jesus does for us. And Trossard can do that. And he proved that tonight. It was so much more fluid, like I say. Defensively, very, very sound again. I think there was only one moment where it looked like Sevilla was going to maybe get in behind, and William Saliba was doing William Saliba things like he does now. We just come to expect that of him.
Yeah.
And you have to say the manager got it right. But at the same time, I'm not going to sit here and say that's it now. We found the solution and all that, because I still don't believe that midfield is going to be good enough in Premier League, especially.
Yeah,
we do need to find a solution.
I get you on that, and I think that I think the one player I already mentioned, Kai Havertz, still just doesn't look to be. You look at Declan Rice; he's come in and looks an Arsenal player. He's dynamic, he's strong, he's quick. As an example, Jorginho's never been dynamic and strong and quick, but he has an excellent passing range to kind of compensate for that. I'm still looking at Kai Havertz, and I can't quite work out. I mean, and he's passed tonight, by the way, for the opening goal to break the lines. That's what he's great at. And if there's a little bit of space for him, he's brilliant. But Kai Havertz, he doesn't have the speed, the power, the height. But he has a height, but doesn't use it. Doesn't have the touch, the dribbling. I'm still yet to find, what it is that he does. He doesn't even have that kind of Fellaini-esque presence in the air to knock the sort of ball down. Sard, big claim there from Brandon. Sorry, Brandon. Sard, a big claim there from Brandon that he thinks you can win this competition. Do performances like tonight give you confidence that Arsenal can win their first Champions League this season?
I see performances like this, and it's great, but I've always been on the understanding that you can't just come into the Champions League and win it. You can't just, with players that haven't got experience playing in the Champions League. Yes, we have some that have played in the Champions League previously, but you can't just come in and win the Champions League. It's not that easy. Otherwise, you'd see other teams do it. You saw how Man City struggled year after year after year after year. And their teams were even better than ours. and they still struggled. They still made it to semi-finals, and they still made it to quarterfinals, and then got traipsed out of there. So I'm not going to say that we can win it, but all I will say is the final was at Wembley. So listen, if I get to the final, my record at Wembley is quite good. But yeah, listen, for me, it was a great game. It's great to see Saka, great to see Martinelli back. And I say this now, this is what happens when you put somebody in the middle that can actually move the ball around and bring players into the game. Trossard and Martinelli were on fire today. Were on fire. The passes between them two, it looked like they played last season, all season together. Literally, the last time, the reason why people were so cautious about bringing Trossard back into the middle was because of that Fulham game. But people are not realizing that in that Fulham game, Jesus was playing on that left side. It was not Martinelli. With Martinelli and Trossard, they have very good chemistry between them. And even with him and Saka, very good chemistry. I think for me, I enjoyed the game. I enjoyed the way Jorginho was playing. He actually had a very good game today. He was actually passing the ball forward. A lot of times he passes sideways and backwards. That's the main problem I had with Jorginho. Sideways and backwards every time. This time he was actually passing the ball forward, progressing the ball. That's all I ask. That's all I ask. Keep it the same as how Thomas Partey does it. He gets the ball, straight away he looks up, someone's there to collect the ball, he pushes it forward, progresses the ball forward. I think the only critique that or I have two things to critique. The not taking the chances. This is I say this every single match reaction that I've done on here. I've literally mentioned it every single time I've come in. We don't finish our chances every time. And the second thing I want to critique, Ben White. So many times he could have done the overlap. I don't think he understands how helpful that overlap is, because when Saka is getting double teamed by players, he needs an option. That overlapping run provides him with an option to pass and possibly get the ball crossed in. He needs to be making those overlapping runs more and more in the game. I understand that I think they were doing a game plan where it went to a back three and he stayed back. But that overlapping run is way too valuable to be not doing it. But yeah, I'm happy with the win.
I bet you guys are. You're pretty much through now. A few super chats here on Arsenal. It says, I'm convinced Kai is a DM like Busquets, lanky, weak, and does a few sideways. Did you just call Busquets weak?
That's crazy.
Brother, like that's like an insult. See how many insults there were in there to Busquets, one of the greatest DMs in the history of football. Sevilla's right back will be having nightmares about Martinelli in his past and future lives. Saka and Trossard were excellent tonight, pure dominance. And look, I think Arsenal fans, especially that have been watching the Terrace and tuning into our shows, have been waiting for a performance like that all year. Kai was literally a way for Arsenal to funnel money to Chelsea. City and Man United did the same. I thought that was fairly obvious. The clubs have a
synergistic, I think.
Synergistic. I've heard the word, okay, synergistic relationship. Can you imagine? Yeah, just a money-making scheme. That's why they did it. Can you imagine? Arsenal can win what? I almost crashed, Brandon. Please don't kill me over laughter. But I kind of agree. I know that we always talk about like, oh, Arsenal have never won it, and in the past, Wenger's team struggled. But this is not Wenger's Arsenal. It's a different Arsenal. When teams open up against them, they're dangerous. And I do think, I still think they've got to sign that Ivan Toney and maybe another midfielder in January. But of course, they've got a chance in this competition because on their day, Arsenal, and this is the thing. Back when Man United were a really good team, and so were Arsenal, Chelsea, and Liverpool, we could all win the Champions League every year, even if we were just coming fourth in England, because on our day, we could beat anyone. And I think Arsenal may just be that team. Arsenal's game was a bore fest. I think someone's I don't think someone doesn't like Arsenal here. I didn't think that was a bore fest as far as I am concerned. More to come on Arsenal later, but keep hitting like buttons and that, please. Staffy, talk to me about the United games. Like, what's going through your head? Is it the decisions? Is it the club's team performance? Combination of the two?
I'd be disingenuous if I sat here and didn't call out the refereeing decisions, and I don't like to do that. I've said that before. If I ever sit on a stream and talk too much about refereeing decisions, you could call me out for it. But I think we got to make an exception today. because I think we absolutely got robbed in that first half. That red card was not a red card. That first goal should have not stood, should have been an offside. That penalty should have not been a penalty because that handball rule, like, how ridiculous is it? When I saw the penalty that we got, I looked at it, I was like, yo, that's not a handball. But if you're going to give the first one, and those are the rules in this competition, you got to give the second one. It was more of tit for tat, but I don't think that neither one of them should have been a penalty, if I'm being honest with you. What an absolute robbery that was. I don't understand how people can come to me and actually argue that Rashford deserves that red card. They're like, it's a dangerous tackle. It wasn't even a tackle. Like, how am I meant to play football if I can't move my feet? People are like, oh, you should move your body. What? I'm just gonna do, like, you know, that dance where it's like, oh, well, left step, right step. Like, where am I supposed to go? If I got to step in front of the ball, I got to move my leg with it. He did not once look at the player coming from behind him. He knows that he's just trying to shield the ball. He puts his foot down. Yes, unfortunately, he steps on his ankle, but that wasn't intentional at all. The fact that there's no intention taking when that VAR review was being made, to me, is just baffling, because the referee in real life did not give that. We actually hit him on the counter and we almost scored. So you're telling me if we almost scored that goal that Højlund missed, he would have canceled the goal to go back all the way back to give that foul?
Do you know what's interesting about it as well? When people keep saying it's like Romero, it's like Curtis Jones.
How so is that Curtis Jones?
Yeah, they're saying this. But when you go back and watch all those games, you see players appealing and referee. No one in the Copenhagen team cared it happened
at all.
None of them were saying, ref, did you see what happened? Because everyone that's played football knows he just accidentally 100%. Stood on him.
And that's what I said, Terry. If it was half an inch, if it was half an inch off to the right or whatever, it would have been completely on his foot. That wouldn't have been a foul, let alone a card, if he just stomped on his foot. Because everyone who's played football at any level or at any age, at any part of your life, you know, if you're playing football, at least once or twice, someone's going to step on my feet. And it hurts. Don't get me wrong. But it's never a foul because it's normal. The fact that people think it's anything to compare to Romero, which was more of a lunge because the ball was kind of 50-50 between them. So both of them tried to challenge for it. Bro, he's not. I watched the replay a million times. He did not once look at him. He just knows someone's coming from behind. Let me shield the ball. And he just puts his foot down. That happens a million times in a game. But not once is it going to be given unless something stupid like that happens. And as you said, Terry, no one appealed for it. If the referee saw in real life and thought nothing is wrong with it, and we had no idea why there was a VAR check, I laughed at it. I was doing a watch along. I was like, in a million years, that's not given. I was laughing. I was like, you're wasting my time. It's not going to get given. And it gets given. It's insane to me. And then the goal that they score, he does a basketball screen on the goalkeeper. If anyone watches basketball, that's a screen. For you to stand in front of the goalkeeper like that, for him not to see the shot. Yeah. And as the one that you shared, it was 100% the same way.
Yeah. And there's also another still shot now that shows him past the goalkeeper's eye line. But when you look at the ball's already been shot. He's like, yes, he walks across him. Like in some respect, walking across top. That to say that motion past your eyes isn't distracting is crazy. And now listen, both those decisions were crazy. I think everybody agrees with that. That's not being bitter.
What did you say one more thing before I go?
Yes, sorry, mate. Go on.
I thought I was going to move on to someone else because I do have a shoot in a little bit. I wanted to get the refereeing things out of the way, but now I got to also criticize this team for today. When we went down, first of all, we were up 2-0, and a lot of other teams would have still seen out this game. I think Ten Hag did nothing to regain the control of the game. Now, I understand the circumstances were hard. We lost a man, and the refereeing decisions were against us, and we're playing away from home. But I thought we should have somehow found a way to finish that first half at least up 2-1, not to go into that halftime talk with 2-2, because the minute they went in 2-2, it was going to favor Copenhagen, especially that they're the home team and they have the one-man advantage. I just want to call out a couple players. I don't want to ever hear any debates on Aaron Bissaka and Dalot again, because both of them are absolute shit. That goal, by the way, that Dalot was caught sleeping on the far post. I don't want you to forget how this whole thing started. That started with a hospital pass from Aaron Wan-Bissaka to Onana, where he passed to him by like hip level, and we conceded that corner, and that started the goal. So it started with Aaron Wan-Bissaka, and it finished with Dalot, and that just shows me how much of a mid-off that is. We probably have the worst 2 right backs in the league. I'm not even exaggerating at this point because they're both outdoing each other. You made a mistake. Let me show you what I could do right now. Both of them are to be held responsible for that goal. And Varane, honestly, bro, I understand why now you're being benched because the way he gave up the ball on the 4th goal, when Maguire passed it to his foot, it was a simple pass. Anyone here, all 6 of us right here, if you receive that pass, I promise you, you're controlling that ball from the first touch. The fact that he touched the ball jumped like that, and he had to clear it. He looked like a kid, let alone a 5-time or 4-time Champions League winner with the way he tried to clear that ball and we conceded from it. It's absolutely embarrassing the way we conceded that goal because of Varane. Because to me, he sold that goal. And the 4th goal, as I said, Wan-Bissaka and Dalot sold it. We deserve to lose just because of these incidents. But the rest, I think at the end of the day, listen, I could blame my team. And everyone knows I sit here and blame this team every time when I think someone is wrong. But I cannot blame the team for how we got screwed over this game because we had probably the best start to any game we had all season. And I thought we were going to cruise past that. But the referees put us in that situation, and we had no response for it. So it's whatever way you want to look at it. I don't think we deserve to lose this game.
You know, as a rival, if I can just Terry, if as a rival, obviously I'm gonna stay consistent and listen. Refereeing decisions, no matter what team they happen to, they have to be called out because if you don't call them out as a rival, I can't then speak and expect you guys to have the same respect for me when I speak about it for my team. So I feel like for me, that Rashford one, I would agree with you guys that it isn't a red card just because even when he turns around, you can see he doesn't even realize he stepped on his foot. I don't even think he realizes he stepped on his foot that badly. He might have thought he stepped on his toe, but not on his ankle or anything like that. But when it comes to decisions that are done in the Champions League, you expect them not to be done. I expect this stuff from the Premier League. I expect this stuff to be done in the Premier League because of how low the levels are in officiating. But for the Champions League, I expect them to be doing much better. So yeah. I'm not going to sit here.
I agree with Brandon. Go on, mate.
Yeah, I just want to say as well, from my perspective, I totally agree. Like, the refereeing decisions were absolutely diabolical and it shouldn't be happening, and there'll probably be an inquest into it, and no doubt, and rightly so as well. But at the same time, Man United go 2-0 up. As Staffy said, you should be seeing that 2-0 to at least 2-1 going into half-time. And then even worse than that, right? You go 3-2 up. And you still can't see the game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's
and about that point as well, which is frustrating me. There was 2 instances in the game. One was when we was turning up, Rasmus had a volley from towards outside of the box.
If he takes a touch, he scores that.
He can take a touch and go in and make it 3-0. We still got 11 men. Like, the game would change. And then second of all, 3-2 up. Another blunder moment for Copenhagen, and Bruno's through with 3 options to make it 4-2. Make it 4-2. And I actually believe we would have seen through.
Is it the one that he passed to McTominay?
He passed to McTominay so poorly that McTominay can't do nothing but sky the shot because the ball was not set for him. And I'm sitting there like, these are the moments, as we talk about the defending, for the attacking side of our game, that we need to flip and change.
No, I agree. Listen, especially the 4th goal with Bruno. I think with Højlund, look,
that one you can forgive. You can forgive it.
No, the reason I can forgive it is because I don't want to judge him on hindsight because we weren't down to 10 we were 2-0 up. He tried to go for a spectacular to get his hat trick.
Because he was excited. He just scored his second.
And I don't blame a player doing that 25 minutes into a game when you're already 2-0 up, because nobody could have predicted the Rashford red card, the offside goal, the penalty, and the expression, if it rains, it pours. It's crazy. And when it all happened, and I'm sitting there thinking to myself, I don't really believe in the devil stuff, right? But that shirt advert we did at the beginning of the season, I think KJ might be right, because sometimes we bring stuff on ourselves, but it's like everything. You ever seen that advert, that guy, every time everything he touches turns to Skittles? That's Man United this season. Everything we touch just falls apart. And I was
I
watching.
just
again,
feel
hang
bad
on.
for Højlund again. This is the
Yeah.
second time he scores a brace and we end up losing the game. This
Mate,
guy, no more
also,
braces.
oh,
for him.
he might be injured, by the way.
Real quickly as well. How ironic that the guy who scored the 4th goal is called Rooney as well.
Mate, it's.
Oh, he
Oh, I saw
banged
you in
on
my
it.
chat.
He
You
banged on
dickhead. I
FM, you
saw
know.
you in my chat.
Oh,
It's
Brandon.
that kid on FM is absolutely
Rooney.
bro.
Yeah, no, he looks.
Listen,
But
sign
listen,
him.
we could again if we were a serious club, we'd do something proper before we left and make sure we buy him. We'd go and buy him now. You know, sort of what we did with Ronaldo when we played Sporting Lisbon. Sunshine. Obviously, a lot's been made of the red cards and the offside goals, penalties, etc. A lot of Man United fans, though, are still saying yes, but we still bottled it. We still let up again. Is this another night that's on the manager and the way he did nothing to get the team to come back together?
Don't matter what the manager does, in my opinion, in this game. They ain't got the mentality for it. We've gone long past being able to change tactics and get something out of these players because they don't, in my honest opinion, they just don't have the mentality to brace these situations. And like I said to you last stream, Terry, when shit hits the fan and you're not good, you need to be. There'll be moments in a game where you deserve some things, where you get rewarded, and there's so many things that are going against us this season when we don't even deserve it. Like we're doing the right things and they're getting choked off left, right, and centre. Every flipping goal has got to go to VAR. Every goal has to go to VAR at the moment. That's how it literally feels. Like Johnny Evans had the fucking goal at the weekend. Like it's just it stinks. Like we're not playing under footballing rules right now. So yes, we're performing shit. And we're not doing great right now. That's normal in football. But then as part of a football, from a footballing standpoint, bias aside, Manchester United are not operating or being operated on via the same fucking rules as everybody else. It's game after game after fucking game after game after game after game after fucking game. That's where the consistency is for me. It's just fucking bullshit. You know me of many people, Terry. I will sit here and I'll have hella conversations and be as objective as possible. Say United was shit. Yeah, Bruno was this. Onana was this. I'll be as balanced as anything. So for someone like me to sit here and go, what's the point of watching football because we're not operating on the same fucking rules? What's the point? I can't even enjoy the fucking game no more. Forget my team. I can't enjoy the game that I grew up loving. We're getting fucking shagged from literally one corner to another. You know when you fucking go past goal, yeah? You go past goal, collect fucking 200, you land on that fucking card, it sends you back to Palma with fucking 4 hotels on it. Fucking 3 steps backwards. And then you go past fucking goal again because you got a double, yeah? And then you fucking get that, what's it called?
We get sent to jail and
pay rent on all your properties and whatnot. That's United, bro.
Mate, listen, do you know what's really crazy about it? I want to ask you this question, and this could be me being a United fan in my feelings. But that referee gave their penalty so quickly. That man was faster than Usain Bolt. Bang, whistle pointed, get away from me. When it was their one, the amount of times they looked at it, and I'm watching it again in my world, neither are penalties. But based on the one you've already given, you've got to give this because they're identical to each other, the proximity. But they were looking for any reason not to give our penalty. And for me, that's what I've noticed this season as well. When we concede a penalty, it's bang straight out. In the last game where we conceded the penalty, McTominay's foot's high, but he didn't touch the player. The player turned and jumped into him. It's like that's not a foul. The player didn't need to do that. We've been robbed left, right, and centre.
We've got three red cards in 4 Champions League games. Explain that to me. We've conceded a penalty in every single game.
Back what 2-3 seasons ago, the Middlesbrough handball. From time they was trying to style that one out. I even said, listen, it's going to be rigged. From that moment, I said, Man United got it in. Nowhere can you go and play basketball, take a fucking jump shot, and call it a fucking goal. Nowhere is that. That's not written in football laws. From that Middlesbrough game, I remember it. We had it last season with Martinez. We're having decisions that are literally should be favouring us based on the same decisions they're making for other teams. It's not happening. So how can I honestly, again, if something consistently happens, so for example, let's say Tenor's consistently dropping his left back. He's got a left back on the bench, but he's dropping in 5, 6, 7 games in a row. I've got to go to that and go, consistently you're making these decisions, so I have to air it. We are consistently getting shagged by fucking VAR decisions and whatever. It has to be called out now. Because I can't sit here and go, and look at the small, minute areas and go, oh, Højlund could have finished this, or we could have held on till halftime. Yeah, these are all if, buts, and maybes. But the bigger part of it is, if the referees are against you already at kickoff, what's the point in having any hope and going, you can earn a result? And I use that word earn with the most specificness, like earn a result. Because, if we don't earn it, I'm going to sit here and go, I don't think we earned it tonight, but we got the result. We can't earn nothing. We can't buy it for love the money.
Yeah.
I can't enjoy football.
We've considered a penalty in every single game that we've had in the Champions League this season. I don't even know how that is possible. We've got 3 red cards in 3 games in the Champions League out of 4. I'm getting to a point where I'm like, I don't understand how. And then plus we don't get the same thing. So Pellistri should have got a penalty against Bayern Munich. Didn't even check.
Didn't get it.
I don't care what anyone says. Their centre back deserved a red card for elbowing Højlund in the head.
Facts.
For elbowing. But it didn't even get checked. And I know we can sit here and people be like, look at your team. And we will all 3 of us right here will happily talk about our team and how poor it is and how Ten Hag's not good enough right now, how the players aren't good enough, how Man United are bad. We can do that. But when we have been fairly calling out referee decisions for other teams, I think it's kind of fair that we can chat about it too.
I just want to get relegated, man. I'm going to shit at this point.
Mate, listen, look, and as I say, look, I'm on both levels here. We've conceded so many goals in the Champions League, and overall, that is on our structure and our system. Everybody knows that I've lost faith in this manager because I don't think that he will. The irony is, in the first 40 minutes, I was watching it going, so you told us you can't play a progressive, high-paced, quick movement, passing style of football, and you did it impeccably well in that first 40 minutes. So part of me was thinking, I'm going to get cooked on this show because everyone's going to say, see, you can play that style of football, Terry. You were wrong to turn on him. But you judge a team when they face adversity. And for me, you don't always win when you get a man sent off or a decision that goes against you. We've seen that through the history of football. But it's every time something goes wrong for us. And sometimes what goes wrong is our mistake and we concede. Every time we become very scattergun, we panic, sort of like whenever you might see a film and something happens and they say to you, don't run, don't panic, and everyone starts going crazy and running around and hurting each other. That's Man United whenever something goes wrong. And for me, part of that is the players and their mentality. But I also look at the manager as part of that because he hasn't developed in 18 months a stronger mentality in this team. And I know some of that comes from the board. I know some of that comes from the sporting people at our club, and it's all part and parcel. But I was like watching Varane tonight. I saw something that Aaron tweeted. He thinks Varane did what he did on purpose. And I don't necessarily think it was on purpose, but that looks like a man who's checked out. We've all been going, why is he not starting? Why is he not starting? Clearly, there's something that's been said or a lack of application in training or something along those lines. And you saw that in his performance tonight because that wasn't Champions League Varane. And it's overall, this is why Man United are in such a big mess because, yes, we know that we are being... And by the way, I think it's easy for us to be screwed over by the referees because we don't have an aura anymore. It's harder for Man City because they are the most powerful team and the best team in the world right now. Real Madrid get a lot of stuff go their way, especially at home. That's because they've got an aura about them. There's almost an element where we're a fallen giant, so people feel like they can... It's sort of... You'll get the Lion King, as it were, the guy that runs the pride. When he gets to a certain age, though, and he ain't that guy anymore, all those young lions start having a pop at him because they know they can now. And I feel like Man United are going through that. But how we respond to that is by becoming a better team. And at the moment, we don't have a leg to stand on with that. I want to go to some of these super chats. They're about both clubs here. First one says, no ref is against United. That's a red in today's rules, and both teams got pens. What's the issue?
But we should have got pens. That's the issue.
There weren't penalties, and it was not a red card.
There weren't penalties. Look, for me, it's not a red card. A lot of people said, but I've watched the tackle again. It wasn't a tackle. It's not a tackle. He accidentally stood on the guy. To give you an example, there was a red card of Chelsea, a West Ham player got about 2 seasons ago, might be 3, where he cleared he cleared the ball. And as he cleared the ball, obviously your foot follows through. He caught the player on the shin. It wasn't like Ramirez. It wasn't really hard, but he caught the player. The still shot looks awful, but it can't be a red card because there is no rule that says if the follow through of a shot or a clearance, you stud a player, you get sent off. It has to be within the grounds of the law. There's no law that says when shadowing a ball, If you accidentally stand on someone's foot, ankle, or shin, you get sent off. It wasn't a stamp because there's no evidence of a quick push that, because a stamp does this, and there was no tackle, there was no lunge. It can't be a red card if you read the law of the game. This isn't me speaking as a Man United fan. It's me speaking as a football fan. It cannot be a red. There are certain things that there aren't rules for. The reason they're in a rule is because you don't get sent off for things like this ever in football, not even in 2023. Well, you do tonight. What I meant with the Busquets Kai Havertz comment was playing Kai attacking midfield. He looks how Busquets would look playing attacking midfield.
Busquets would still look better playing attacking midfield, bro. Trust me.
I think you're right on that one. This here says, yeah, Staffy definitely got a better touch than Varane. Most people are, bro. Most people are. But Gusto versus Villa is a red, sure. Cry harder, Terry. Gusto's versus Villa. I'm gonna have to watch that one again. I remember it.
That was a long...
He was making a tackle. And again, this is what I'm saying to you, my bro. I respect all my super chatters. He didn't make a tackle. He didn't lunge. He didn't follow through on a tackle.
He turned his body.
He turned his body. This is what's crazy about it. Do you know how this is what you're saying is a red card? Let's say, and this happens a lot, by the way, a player falls down during a free kick and a defender steps backward, doesn't know he's there and stands on his leg. You saying that's a red card because he has stood on his leg with his studs. It's an accident. He didn't mean to do it. And we all know the difference between an accident and intent. And because it's not a tackle, it has to be violent conduct. And there's no intent there of violent conduct. It can't be serious foul play because it doesn't hit any of the criteria. He wasn't challenging for a ball and he didn't make a lunge or leave the ground. And without those elements, it can't be serious foul play. This is the point I'm making. This isn't about I don't think. Read the law. It isn't. It's not. It's neither. And the reason they said, I think they put it down as violent conduct. Initially, UEFA on their website said he went off for elbowing the player. Then what they said, and then what? And this is what they've worded it as. They haven't put it down as serious foul play, which is what you get sent off for when it's a tackle. I'll go back to UEFA's page. I want to get back to their page here. Their website is so long. Matches. I want to go to today's. Actually, this is ridiculously long. Today's games. Oh, it makes you scroll right down. Let's go for everything. Where we at? Okay, there we go. Right. So let's go to today's game. So this is on UEFA's. Obviously, they've had it reported into them. I want to scroll down. I want to do this. They didn't give it for serious foul play. Initially, they said he elbowed him on their website. It's taking their website is absolute trash. Why won't it keep scrolling down? Anyway, it's right. It takes ages. Some websites you think that they were built a while ago. Right, hang on. Let's have a little look here. Goal. Yep, seen that. So it says the forward was dismissed for catching the player.
What's that mean?
Not serious foul play, not a dangerous tackle. Catching the player.
That is what I don't even care, bro. Put me in a cage.
Catching him. What do you mean catching him? Show me the law of catching, and then go look at other red cards. It's not. It's crazy to me. This says I don't celebrate when you're 3-2 up. No, I do agree with that. We shouldn't have been arrogantly celebrating. We should have got our head down and played. First, it was Premier League refs corruption, and now it's Champions League refs.
Yeah, but UEFA have been screwing us. UEFA have been screwing us. So.
We conceded a handball penalty when it hit the fire first. You remember? It happened. Remember Carragher, Neville and Carragher on Arteta?
Can we talk on this, Terry? Because I was just about to say to you, you boys, be careful because you don't want Gary Neville and Jamie Carragher coming out and calling you dangerous for saying things like this. But I find them highly ironic, especially Jamie Carragher, right? Because clearly he's having a bit of fun with this, but he tweeted out tonight, the game is gone, get rid of VAR, that's a disgrace. Well, has he said anything different to what Mikel Arteta said in his press conference after Newcastle? No. But then he wants to come out and call managers a disgrace for calling out bad decisions. Like, make your mind up, my friend. Do you know what I mean? Like, them two are absolute fucking clowns and all. And I'm sick and tired of listening to the crap.
It's all a mate. I've said it for a while. It's all a game. It's all a game to people. And Man United got screwed with results. And I get why they'll focus on our performance. And I think we should focus on the performance, but they'll ignore the decisions. If we would have won tonight, and they were 2-0 up and we won 3-2, they'd be but it all went in reverse. They wouldn't focus on us coming back. They'd focus on us getting decisions that helped us. That's my problem when it comes down to the media. They pick and choose which clubs they elevate and go, poor you, and who they don't. And that is true as far as I'm concerned. This is one of the most legendary clubs in football history. Man United hasn't looked the same for some time. Yes, the refereeing is an issue, but the core issues is the ownership, in my opinion. Not even a Man United
I'll
fan.
say that. You're not allowed to say that. Because Because I
it's
would be like, no,
crazy.
that's not an issue. That's not a problem.
But you're absolutely spot on. Neville and Carragher talking about criticizing Arteta, the ref aged super well, didn't it? I don't want to see any criticism from them. Thank you, bro. Ian Wright tonight has said, not in the super chat, I think the super chat says not a chance. That's a red. Most ex-pros have just said, what the hell is that? Other than Robbie Savage, straight away, red card. I couldn't believe he was being so biased tonight. Maybe it's because they re-released his son. I don't know. He was nice to Man United for years when his son was there. Now his son's gone. Yeah, biased. Declan Rice is world class. He's everywhere.
Hey, Terry, man, let me take this one because this guy, I tell you right now, people, Declan Rice is everywhere on the pitch. I expect this guy to just get man of the match performances. I expect him to put in man of the match. If he doesn't put in a man of the match performance, that is bad in my books. That is bad in my books. This guy, Declan Rice, is a blessing, man. Is a blessing. Worth every single penny. The fact that he's coming to a team that holds more possession than West Ham did, because West Ham were not a team that holds possession. For him to make that transition and do it seamlessly. He didn't even act. I think the only game that he was bad in was the pre-season game against Man United. The only game where I saw him have a bad game for Arsenal. Apart from that, he's been good in nearly every single game. Every single game. This guy, whenever you need him to make an interception, he's there. Whenever you need him to press the ball forward, he's there. Whenever you need him to just be in the box and cause trouble for somebody else to try and get a shot on goal as well, he's there. He's everywhere, man. I'm just so blessed to have this guy in our team. He's amazing.
Can I just add to that as well?
Oof, mate.
Spurs fan, Jacob, I hope you're watching this, my friend, because on This Is Football, this guy tried to tell me Declan Rice is a glorified Højbjerg. I hope you're eating your words now, mate. Yeah? Talking about Declan Rice being a glorified Højbjerg. What are you watching?
It's crazy. Man tried to use stats to compare it, bro.
It was hot. The fact that I didn't watch the Arsenal game as intently as I watched Man United tonight, but every time I see him, he just looks superb. But I think most football fans knew he was going to be this good. He was just hated on by a lot of people due to his passport, really. Højlund, 2 tap-ins equal super talent. NJ 15, 3 tap-ins. Jackson. But this is the thing. People are talking about the overall play of Nicholas Jackson. His hold-up plays, lack of movement, the runs where he finds himself, the crazily easy chances that he missed. With Rasmus Højlund, it's no one is stating that he's R9. No one is stating that he's going to be the greatest striker of all time. But he makes the right runs so regularly, but we as a club just rarely find him, and it's frustrating to us. So, we know how talented he is. We just need to find him more.
Terry, if you put, I'll give you an example for the reason why you can't make the comparison between the tap-ins. You put Rasmus Højlund in that Spurs game for Chelsea, I guarantee you, minimum 6 goals he leaves with. Minimum,
mate. I'm watching both Liverpool and Chelsea's games on Sunday and Monday. I was sitting there and just thinking to myself, if Højlund was in either of those teams instead of Darwin and instead of Jackson, I do believe this season he's on 5 goals for us, all in the Champions League. I believe he could easily be on 10 to 12. There's a real talent in there, and his hold-up play is great. I think they're very, very, very good footballer. I'm watching that goal again, by the way. I was watching it now on TNT Sport, and yeah, you can see it. Like, yes, that some pictures, if you look at the freeze frame, the player is past Onana as the ball goes in, the guy that was offside, but he runs across him, so he's obviously got into his eye line. The fact people are playing that down is crazy. Gary Neville called out the reffing just now. Of course he did, but this is everything I told you what would happen when it comes to those guys. They're doing it because then what people do is they react to it and go, but you did. It's the Kardashian effect. This is what they're doing now. Gary Neville and Jamie Carragher. It's one of them things to me where I look at it and I think to myself, you're doing it for drama. You're saying things that you may not necessarily believe. It's It's their version of the Ray J tape. They know if one day they say stop criticizing referees and a week later start criticizing referees, they know that it's going to create and induce a reaction of anger towards them and, you know, on their shows and everything else. And it's a case of, it's funny, really. It's a good tactic. And I wish maybe I should do it instead of being almost as consistent as possible when it comes to these things. And by the way, if Luton player gets sent off at the weekend for the identical thing Rashford did, you'll see me say it's not a red card. What I don't do is go, well, we got one, so I'm glad you did. That's just not how we should behave. That's what is creating all this nonsense. But yeah, Gary Neville and Jamie Carragher right now.
Did you just compare this to Ray J's S tape with?
Yes.
My God,
I
was like, hold up, pause.
No, but I'll tell you why I compare the two, right? And I think it's a fair comparison because we all know now, it's all come out, that sex tape wasn't a privately made tape that got leaked accidentally. It was produced. It was made. Kim Kardashian's mother was involved. It was all orchestrated to gain drama and attention and bring in money. And that is what I think a lot of football opinions are becoming by the mainstream media. It's right. We've had a bad refereeing decision. You two tonight are going to say it's wrong. You two are going to go against it. And in a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, whatever it may be, we're going to reverse it so that everybody calls out the hypocrisy because that is the drama. It's their Ray J moment. It's what they're doing. There's no way that they believe what they're saying sometimes.
All right, listen. I let you land the plane. It landed safely at the airport, innit? Like, it's all good.
Of course. I know what I'm doing with that. And it's the truth. It's the truth. Right. Some more super chats here. Cheers, bro. We've never won away at Galatasaray. Big game coming. Footy gods watching. Great game and result for Arsenal. Bro, yeah, that's the thing. Because we're playing them next at their ground, I have almost zero confidence. But if we go and win there, I'd be so shocked. We're already bottle jobs. No way for me. Rashford's brother just got arrested. Personally, don't care. He don't play for Man United. I'm not going to get involved in that one. But thank you for the super chat, brother. United's defense is awful. How can we win if teams continue to score 3+ goals? Spot on. It's awful. UEFA said the red for Rashford was an arm in the face. They did, and they've now changed it to caught someone. I've never known anyone to be caught sent off. What does that even mean? They haven't even.
You got caught. Oh, nah. Oh, my head.
Yeah, Rasmus would cook for Arsenal. I wish we had him. Oh, Rashford Hoyland in an Arsenal team would be sensational.
Don't even tell me.
Don't forget Martinelli. He was cooking. He was great tonight. I thought all the front three for Arsenal were. We, Arsenal, created a vacuum and sucked out, their air out. This is our tactic this year. Thank you, bro.
Yeah.
Sevilla had one shot in the 95th minute. They had one shot in the 97th minute. Easy. Sevilla, their XG of 0.02. Yeah, I said it in the opening bit. I think 2-0 flattered Sevilla. It was a 4-5-0 game, just with not the scoreline. Why are refs shown a freeze frame? I thought that isn't allowed. But we know the way that shit works is crazy. You man need a Todd Bowley style rebuild. I don't quite want that one, SK, if I'm being honest with you. I want a better one, quicker one. Hey, Terry, I just so you are aware, the audio of the VAR decision for Arsenal Newcastle game. Is it the real one or the fake one? We've all listened to the fake one.
There's a fake one.
It sounds real. It sounds real.
Oh, I need to find that.
Hey, I saw hella people putting that out, saying, "Oh my God, look at the VAR." I was like,
yeah, it's crazy. Red card or not, penalties or not, robbed or not. I couldn't believe my ears with the way, with the way we defended. The timing and the manner of those goals was abysmal. Yeah. Couldn't agree more, Jason. You're spot on. I want to know how many childhoods United ruined. Millions. KJ, it's 2 red cards, mate. Casemiro and Rashford.
It feels like
more.
It feels like
not going to lie, the rules are confusing that I give up. Mate, they're mental. Dinia stepped into Rasmus's follow through.
To Gusto
fell through. Yeah, look, I can understand that, but again, that's in a tackle. So you can argue that. My point is, Rashford wasn't a tackle. He wasn't a lunge. He didn't leave the ground. He didn't slide in. He was in possession of the ball. And it's not the same thing, Tim.
He's pivoting his body. You need to put your foot down. Otherwise, you're going to be standing there looking like a film, looking like someone from a Kung Fu film, trying to do Crouching Tiger or something.
Yeah. As a Arsenal fan, that is not a red. I agree with you, Pete. Terry, more consistent than Sky Millionaires pundits. Of course I am. And if I say one thing one week, I'm not going to turn around and say the opposite for my team. If, by the way, if Rashford's tackle was identical to Romero's, I'd have said red card. I just don't think it is. I asked Chat GPT, and it said wasn't a red.
AI is the one.
AI
AI
did. Had to be Rudy that scored the winning goal. Yeah, that was painful. I don't blame Eric Ten Hag. I blame the players' mentality.
But where's it come
7-inch
from?
destroyer said that's a good name.
Oh gosh. But where does it come from though? The mentality. Where does it come from? It comes from the manager, which then comes from the club. So everyone's to blame for it.
Also, shout out to Saliba for the first half tackle.
Tackle was world class. That tackle was world class. The fact that he was literally running on goal and he managed to time that tackle. I think this is where Saliba is in his bag. When he's chasing somebody and he needs to time that tackle just right.
Yeah.
Every time it's perfect.
You're telling me he's Adam Wan-Bissaka, a centre back? Is that what you're telling me?
Gary, maybe you should tell Gary Neville about the football gods and not to tempt fate. Yeah. Gary is two-faced, but they're not two-faced in reality. It's a reality TV show, and we know they're not real, they're fake. I remember listening to a documentary and listening to the Towie actors or people talk, and they were like, yeah, it's real scenes. But what happens is me and KJ have an argument for real on a Monday, and 3.5 weeks later, we refilm that argument. That's what they were. So it's not real then, is it? Because it's never the real, it's moved on. So that's kind of what it is. They're all an exaggeration of what they really think. Not just Rice, that's not been rated because of his passport. Kane initially, Henderson, Mount, let's leave Mount out there for now. Madison, Rashford, Gallagher now. People never listen, not all of them, bro. It's some of them. Like not rating Harry Kane, not rating Saka, not rating Rice. We know a lot of that is sometimes to do with man's passport. Support from Bosnia. Thank you very, very much, my bro. I really appreciate the donation, my friend. I don't know what that other word says. Sarajevo. Sarajevo. Yeah, that's a place, isn't it? I swear that is. Sarajevo. Is it Sarajevo? Is that Sarajevo? Or am I dumb?
No idea.
I couldn't tell you, mate. I couldn't tell you that.
I need to check now because, yeah, Sarajevo, the capital of Bosnia, and yeah, and yeah, that's it. There, I thought it was. There we go. My dyslexia went away for a minute. Missed the Arsenal game, but that's fine. Terry and the boys got me. Thank you, Adam Lowe. It's a red all day. He could have snapped his ankle. It was the correct decision for dangerous play. Then why hasn't it been put down as dangerous play?
Terry, I never knew pivoting your body is called dangerous play. You know, footballers shouldn't have their arms up anymore, and they shouldn't turn. They should just play like this.
Yeah.
Because what else are players supposed to do, man? Like,
yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. Maddest thing is we can still qualify.
I don't care.
We win out, but the thing is, I want to and I don't want to. I want to because it'd be great, but then we're just going to get battered by someone at some point.
We're going to get destroyed. We're not going to win the Champions League. I don't care where we finish. I just want our games to be reffed cleanly. That's what I want.
Yeah, I do agree, Joshua Jackson. Savage does sound bitter now that his son's gone. Like he used to praise up the kid. It's different, but I suppose that's the way it is. He was bitter with us, by the way, before his son was playing like near the first team because he got released before he played a game for us, and he's back to being bitter again. Look, I want to thank everybody.
No.
Joe, I want to thank everybody that has tuned into the show today. Thank you very much indeed. Back tomorrow with more content for you, including the match reaction to the Liverpool game in the Europa League. Until next time, people, take care. Goodbye. God bless. And we'll see you all again.